happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell it's going down by the title. We got Vance, Trump's VP pick, coming out absolutely destroying NBC reporter in this newest update, guys. I'm excited to get into it, so we're gonna hop straight into it. Just make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we even get into it, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Yo, let's get into it, y'all.
This is what Donald Trump said last year about wanting to target his political opponents. Take a listen.
I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family.
Senator, if former President Trump were to win, if you were to be his vice president, would you support him appointing a special prosecutor to go after his political enemies, the Bidens?
Well, first of all, Kristen, I find it interesting how much the media and the Democrats have lost their mind over this particular quote. Donald Trump is talking about appointing a special prosecutor to investigate Joe Biden for wrongdoing. Joe Biden has done exactly that for the last few years and has done far more in addition to that to engage in a campaign of lawfare against his political opposition. I think what Donald Trump is simply saying is we ought to investigate the prior administration. There are obviously many instances of wrongdoing. The House Oversight Committee has identified a number of corrupt business transactions that may or may not be criminal. Of course, you have to investigate to find out. So I think Donald Trump saying, look, let's do the basic work of investigating wrongdoing is a totally reasonable thing for him to do. And frankly, the Biden administration has done far worse. So if you think that what Donald Trump is proposing is a threat to democracy, isn't what Biden has already done a massive threat to our system of law and government?
Senator, just to be very clear, though, Joe Biden didn't appoint a special prosecutor. The Attorney General did that. Trump was indicted by grand juries. He was found guilty by a jury of his peers in New York. But can we just go back to the core question here? Would you support him taking such an action? It sounds like you're saying, yes, you would.
I would absolutely support investigating prior wrongdoing by our government. Absolutely. That's what you have to have in a system of law and order, Kristen. But I have to reject the premise here. Joe Biden appointed the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, who, of course, answers to Joe Biden, can be fired by Joe Biden. So the idea that the Biden administration has nothing to do with the appointment of the special prosecutor, I think, completely betrays a misunderstanding of how our system of government actually works. And of course, Kristen, we have to make this point, Kristen, that the prosecution of Donald Trump in New York, which I think now is fundamentally been thrown in doubt by this immunity case, it was one of the main guys was a Department of Justice official in the Biden administration who jumped ship to join a local prosecutor's office to go after Donald Trump.
And yet the DOJ
if that
told
doesn't make you question
Senator,
the legitimacy of the prosecution, that's a problem.
Well, Senator, that happened.
You hear that, guys? She does not want to let Vance get in a word. Otherwise, when he gets to speaking, he's heating her up right now, getting to the core of what's really wrong, guys. What Biden has done is wrong. Not what Donald Trump is proposing, appointing an attorney general to investigate, guys. You have to investigate to figure out if someone did something wrong. On the other hand, we got Biden, who's, clearly using extensions of his party in order to come after his political opponent, guys, for the weaponization of our DOJ. And I'm glad we got Vance here to keep Kristen honest. She's just trying to spin it. She's spinning it all on Donald Trump, just like everyone else does. Vance isn't here for it, guys. Come on now. Listen to her try to talk over it.
That doesn't make you question the legitimacy of the prosecutor's office to go after Donald Trump.
And yet the DOJ told
that doesn't make you question the legitimacy of the prosecution. That's a problem.
Well, Senator, that happens all the time. People are appointed from Washington, but the DOJ told Congress, testified this week
Kristen,
that it reviewed
it happens.
Hold on, Senator.
Are you really saying, Kristen?
Senator, let me finish my sentence.
All
then
the
I'll
time
let you finish. Hold on.
The number.
Let me just finish this. The DOJ told Congress this week it reviewed all communications since Biden took office and found no contact between federal prosecutors and those involved with that case in New York.
Just like the Hunter Biden laptop was, proven to be Russian disinformation, guys. It was all fake. We're supposed to just trust their word of the Biden admin. Their administration is supposed to be, their word is holy. But we can see, if we look back at their track record, guys, that's not the case. We need to do some investigations on them. Like, come on, stop trying to cover it up. And that's what Kristen's doing right here. That's her job.
Congress this week, it reviewed all communications since Biden took office and found no contact between federal prosecutors and those involved with that case in New York. Can you stick to the substance of the question, though? Let me just ask, because I just want to stick with this line of theory that you are laying out, which is you are saying it's not okay for Joe Biden to weaponize the Justice Department. If it's not okay for Joe Biden to weaponize the Justice Department, as you say, which there's no evidence of that, why is it okay for Donald Trump to do that?
Oh my goodness, guys. It's just like the Trump derangement syndrome is so thick right here. She's just not getting it through her head that Biden's already, attacked slayed an attack on our democracy by throwing these weaponization of Department of Justice on Donald Trump, all these charade cases, really a bunch of kangaroo court cases, whereas on the other side, Donald Trump is just simply saying that he's, proposing to investigate Biden administration for wrongdoings, not even saying he's going to, prosecute or, throw charges or try to, seek charge. He just wants to figure out if there was any wrongdoings. She's just not getting that through her head. I don't think she will. I don't know.
There's no evidence of that. Why is it okay for Donald Trump to do that?
Well, Kristen, first of all, you said that it happens all the time, that the number 3 person in the Department of Justice jumps ship to join a local prosecutor's office to go after the president's political opponent. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of American democracy, and I don't think that we should legitimize it. Now, if Donald Trump's attorney general had his number 2 or his number 3 jump ship to a local prosecutor's office in Ohio or Wisconsin, and that person then went after Donald Trump's political opposition, that's a different conversation.
Senator,
all he's suggesting is that we should investigate credible arguments of wrongdoing. That's all that Donald Trump is saying. That is not a threat to democracy. That's merely...
Look how much the truth gets underneath her. She can't even, she knows her job is at stake because of the way J.D. Vance is, he's wiping the floor up with her, mopping the floor with Miss Kristen Wellich. Oh my goodness, guys. I think it's Kristen Welker. I'm so sorry, guys, but the way she is getting done in this segment, J.D. Vance came and he did not come to play today. This is showing it right here. Hold on.
Of wrongdoing. That's all that Donald Trump is saying. That is not a threat to democracy. That's merely reinforcing our system of law and government.
Bottom line, you are okay with Donald Trump appointing a special prosecutor to go after his political enemies, which would include Joe Biden. You're just, to button that up, it sounds like you're saying yes. Let me move on, though, to my next question. I want to talk to you about the Heritage Foundation. It's a conservative think tank in Washington. It shapes the agenda they would like to see in a Trump second term. The president said this after the Supreme Court's ruling this week. Take a look.
We're in the process of taking this country back. No one in the audience should be despairing. No one should be discouraged. We ought to be really encouraged by what happened yesterday. We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Do you support those calls for a revolution, and would political violence ever be justified?
Well, of course, political violence is never justified, Kristen. You'll have to ask the president of the Heritage Foundation to defend his remarks if you'd like to do that. I will say, look, the Heritage Foundation does a lot of good work. It does a lot of things that I disagree with, a lot of things that I agree with. But the Heritage Foundation is a nonprofit organization that works on public policy, and I think it's an important part of how D.C. functions and operates. We'll continue to have important conversations in the Republican Party with a whole host of think tanks from the right and from the left as we craft public policy. That's the way the city works. And again, I'm not going to be the person who serves as the spokesperson for the Heritage Foundation. I don't have any affiliation.
Sounds like you're distancing yourself from those comments, that talk of political violence.
Look, Kristen, I certainly don't think political violence is justified. That's certainly actually not what I think that Kevin Roberts was saying to begin with. But again, have him on your program to defend what he said, and I think that's the best thing to do.
Let me ask you specifically about Project 2025 for our viewers.
Oh my good! It's just like these guys. Their playbook is just so laid out every single time they're against the ropes, guys. She's got her back against the wall. There's nowhere to run. Next thing you know, she's okay. Well, we want to bring up Project 2025. Like, can we stop bringing up Project 2025, guys? Over 900 pages long. This document entails various different policies, legislation that being proposed. And I feel like we can't just nitpick Donald Trump and say this is all on him. This is stuff that's coming from, all his advisors, people in his corner. We can't just pinpoint and put this all on Donald Trump. And if we really look into that 900-page document proposal, Project 2025, guys, I bet you there's something in there for every single person. That being, if you're far, far right, ultra conservative, or far left as Kamala Harris, dangerously liberal. I mean, come on, guys. It's 900 pages long. I find it really hard to believe that you wouldn't find at least one line in there that you'd agree with, that being on both sides of the aisle. I mean, and in between. Come on, guys. She has to stop giving. They have to give that up. They have to give up the Project 2025 cop out plea. That's literally their cop card every single time. Stop it.
Let me ask you specifically about Project 2025 for our viewers so that they know. It's basically a policy blueprint for a second Trump presidency. It's supported by the Heritage Foundation and other conservative groups. The Biden campaign has said Project 25, quote, should scare every single American. It would give Trump limitless power over our daily.
More fear mongering, guys. You don't think there's checks and balances in place right now to make sure the president can't get too much power? I mean, we've been doing this for way too long. Our country has been established for way too long for us not to have checks and balances in place for things that they're fear mongering or trying to preach that you should be scared about to happen. Like, stop it right now. That's more of the fear mongering tactics to scare Kamala Harris to see the White House. Like, no, that's not what's going to happen, guys. Let's listen to what they're trying to say. They're trying to push more of that fear tactic on top of the people. It's not going to work. You have to just look a little bit past it to see that this is 900 pages. 900 pages long. There is no way that you disagree with every single line. Get it out of here. Come on, y'all.
Scare every single American. It would give Trump limitless power over our daily lives. Among the things they are calling for is reversing approval of the abortion pill, mifepristone. But Donald Trump says he supports access to that pill, actually. Do you support access to abortion medication as Donald Trump does?
Well, Kristen, you asked about Project 2025, and I want to be clear here that Trump explicitly has said his own transition team runs the Trump transition and will run the Trump administration. Again, you have a whole host of organizations, some of which have good ideas, some of which have bad ideas.
There you go. Has a whole transition team, whole host of organizations, some good ideas, some bad, some even Trump disagrees with, but they're inside of the 2025 plan. Like, you guys have to drop. They have to drop that plea. I feel like that's the scariest term that they use. That every single time they're back against the rope, they throw that out there, and then they're like going to get their viewers on, their voters on board, say, hey, I'm too scared of Project 2025 to vote for Donald Trump. They haven't even read, 300 words into it, guys, let alone 900 pages, guys. Like, listen to me. It's more than what you think.
Again, you have a whole host of organizations, some of which have good ideas, some of which have bad ideas, and some of which have both. And I'm sure the Trump administration will talk to a lot of people as it's crafting an agenda to bring back American manufacturing jobs, to lower inflation, and to bring peace and prosperity back to the world. That's the whole reason why me and so many others are trying to reelect Donald Trump, is because the agenda actually worked. It was his agenda, and I think it'll work again for the American people. On the question of the abortion pill, what so many of us have said is that, look, we certainly don't. The Supreme Court made a decision saying that the American people should have access to that medication. Donald Trump has supported that opinion. I support that opinion. I think it's important to say that we actually have to have an important conversation in this country about what our abortion policy should be. Donald Trump is the pragmatic leader here. He's saying most abortion policy is going to be decided by the states. We want to make it easier and more affordable for young women and parents to have families to begin with. We want to lower housing costs, eliminate those surprise medical bills that so many families see after they have a baby. That's the Trump and Republican approach to this issue. Meanwhile, Joe Biden wants taxpayer-funded abortion up to the moment.
It's like every single time he starts getting on to the positive, the upside, what Donald Trump is trying to bring to enrich our country, it's like Kristen has to interject. Come on, Miss Welker, let him speak. You asked this guy a question, you pose a question, you're the journalist, you're the reporter. Let this guy at least answer the question. As soon as he gets to the good part, he's like, hey, I'm talking about this, talk about that, and then Donald Trump is going to come in and he said he's going to do this, that. And Joe Biden's been lacking, Kamala's been. As soon as that happens, we hear her, Senator, like, come on. It's getting annoying at this point. Like, let this guy talk.
Rise medical bills that so many families see after they have a baby. That's the Trump and Republican approach to this issue. Meanwhile, Joe Biden wants taxpayer-funded abortion up to the moment of birth. It's so crazy to me how the Democrats frame this as Republicans. Just let me finish, Kristen.
I have to hit the pause button because this is my video. She needs to leave him alone. Let the guy talk. If you didn't want to interview, you didn't want this guy to answer your question, you should have never brought him on NBC. This right here shows you guys the lamestream media is in full effect, guys. Gaslighting and lying. And when they can't gaslight and lie, they'll just interrupt interrupt, cut you off, and make sure their viewers don't get your message. You heard this whole time JD Vance speaking nothing but the truth. We got her, Kristen Welker here, who won't let this guy get out a word of the truth without her meeping and mopping and interrupting, interjecting every single turn, every corner. Like, come on, let him heat up. I don't know what's gotten into JD Vance, but he's not having it today, guys. Listen to this, man. He's still talking, even though she's trying to do the thing. He's had enough too, obviously. Like, it's getting annoying at this point, even for us, the viewers. So I know JD Vance he had to have been feeling a little bit tired of it also. And just listen to his response.
Taxpayer-funded abortion up to the moment of birth. It's so crazy to me how the Democrats frame this as Republicans. Just let me finish, Kristen. They frame Democrats as being reasonable and pragmatic when in reality, Senator, Republicans are the one trying to find some common ground here.
As you know, very few abortions take place later in pregnancy, and almost always because there is a medical emergency. I know Trump is trying to distance himself from Project 2025, but we have to point out that a number of people who are involved with it are former Trump officials, Ben Carson, Peter Navarro, Russ Vought, and others. But just to be clear, you support mifepristone being accessible.
Yes, Kristen, I do. But again, on the Project 2025 issue, what the media and the Democrats are trying to do is attach its most unpopular elements to the Trump administration. It's a 900-page document. I guarantee there are things that Trump likes and dislikes about that 900-page document, but he is the person who will determine.
That's the point I've been preaching this entire time, guys. It's way too broad of an agenda of a document for you guys to just pinpoint and throw all the negative, all the bad on Donald Trump, guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, people from the left all the way to the right could definitely agree on some points. I'm not saying on all points inside of that agenda, but some of them, at least a line or two, you're going to have some agreements, guys, and you can't just throw all the negatives, all the bad points on Donald Trump, because there's tons of good inside of that, Project 2025 document. If you guys check it out, JD Vance here still heating her up, letting her know, like, hey, you have to stop trying to use that cop-out plea, because obviously he's tired of it too. Like, every single time I get her on her heels, I get her stumbling on the ropes, next thing you know, the left's coming out talking about Project 2025. You guys should be like, come on, we've heard enough of the fear-mongering tactics. Stop it, guys.
And dislikes about that 900-page document, but he is the person who will determine the agenda of the next administration. All he said very explicitly is, I am in charge of the next administration because I'm the person running for president. It's just important to make that clarification.
Yo, there we have it, guys. JD Vance coming out with a force today. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with when he touches down the White House later on this year with Donald Trump. I feel like he is just the guy who is, getting his boots put on by Donald Trump, but ready to start his term, his administration in the future. Donald Trump is, getting him ready to be a seasoned vet, a great leader. I can see it already in his eye, his sparkle, the way he just handles NBC reporters. They can't even deal. We got Kristen Welker here, she's too much. It's way too much for her to handle. She can't even, lie or gaslight. She has to just straight up interject, cut him off at every single corner because he just keeps on heating her up, guys. Definitely hop in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. What we just seen. I don't know if she's going to have a spot on NBC after this interview right here, guys. Hop in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Also, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're interested in videos like this, guys. I'll catch y'all in the next week.